What's the latest update on the Iran war? President Trump is already prepared to lay a long-term siege against Iran, but even under this prolonged siege, there's still a possibility of launching another immediate strike within the next 2 or 3 days. So what's really going on here? This is a topic brought to you by Feng Wei. In addition, the Middle Eastern country UAE has withdrawn from the group, and this isn't just a simple matter, it truly affects the broader landscape of the Middle East. This also includes the United States strategy in the Middle East. So what kind of country is the UAE, and what does its withdrawal mean? Why is this something that deserves so much attention? That's the second topic I'm bringing you today. Also, there's the matter of Trump seeing off the King of England. After a 4-day visit, as he was about to leave, he gave a very unique gift. So what exactly was this special gift, and why was it given? That's another topic I'll be analyzing in depth for you. Also, did you know? Today is May 1st, and the United States is launching a nationwide May 1st dam protest. Have you ever heard of a major strike on May 1st in the United States? Probably never, right? Why has there never been a May Day Labor Day in America, and people only know about Labor Day in September? So why is there suddenly a May 1st strike this year? What's really going on? This is also a profound change happening in America, and it's the topic I'm bringing to you today. All right, welcome to Good Morning America, brought to you by Feng Wei. Hello to all our YouTube viewers and to our listeners on Sound of Hope, Silicon Valley, FM 96.1. Hello, everyone. All right, so first, let's talk about the situation in Iran. In April, Iran's crude oil exports dropped by more than 80% compared to March. In March, Iran exported 23.4 million barrels of crude oil, but in April, it was only 4 million barrels. So, successfully shipped out to the Gulf of Oman, the reason is because of the U.S. oil blockade at the Strait of Hormuz. At present, the U.S. has already intercepted 44 ships, carrying a total of over 90 million barrels of oil, and turned them back. Now, Iran is unable to sell this oil, resulting in losses of over $6 billion. So this blockade by Trump has been very effective. Trump also said yesterday that the blockade is foolproof. In addition, according to the Wall Street Journal, the war has also had an impact. Along with the oil embargo, Iran's domestic economy continues to deteriorate. By mid-April, the inflation rate had soared to 67%. In addition, more than 1 million people have lost their jobs, and the number of business closures is rapidly increasing. The devaluation of the currency and the soaring prices have made it difficult for most families to maintain even a basic standard of living. Furthermore, Iranian media estimate that the cost of post-war reconstruction could reach as high as $270 billion, which is about 80% of Iran's annual GDP. This makes it extremely difficult for Iran's finances to withstand such prolonged pressure. In addition, this situation is also having an impact on the United States. The Wall Street Journal has analyzed that the U.S. Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index has already exceeded the target set by the Federal Reserve, mainly due to rising oil prices. So this is the price the U.S. is paying for the war as well. It also affects ordinary Americans. At the same time, the U.S. is pushing for an international coalition called the Maritime Freedom Framework, once again gathering military forces from various countries to provide escort. Through information blockades, diplomatic coordination, and the enforcement of sanctions, they aim to restore freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz, while also putting pressure on Iran. So what was the result? The Trump administration said they would wait until Monday to see who would join. So far, one country has joined, Lithuania, a tiny country in the Baltic region. But they were the first to say, I want to join. So I'd like to make a little joke here. Do you want to be Trump's friend? Right now is the best time to become Trump's new friend. If you reach out and say you want to join now, Trump will definitely see you in a different light. I've always told everyone, moments like this are golden opportunities for Taiwan. Of course, Taiwan has its own considerations to weigh. Meanwhile, as everyone knows, the UK and France are also continuing to lead a maritime operation related to the Strait of Hormuz, and they've held meetings with more than 50 countries, multiple rounds of meetings in fact. The goal is also to maintain safety and smooth trade in the strait. So these countries hold a lot of meetings. They meet all the time. The French foreign minister, named Barrot, went to Saudi Arabia and Oman. Then he went to the United Arab Emirates, or as it's sometimes called in Taiwan, the Arab Emirates. Its capital is Abu Dhabi. So a reporter asked him, what's the connection between what the US is doing and what you all are doing? He replied that the nature of the U.S. mission is different from the one established by the UK and France. They actually complement each other. Then the reporter asked him, so France, will you join the U.S. plan? He said, no comment at this stage. Everyone's just saying nice things, but they're all doing the same thing. Basically, the UK and France want to form their own group, and the US wants to form its own group, so it's up to each country to decide which group they want to join. So that's the situation. In a sense, at least in my view, this is basically Trump testing the waters. He's putting out a test to see who his real friends are. That's what this move is about. Meanwhile, U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Milley said during a Senate Armed Services Committee hearing on Thursday that Russia has already helped Iran with its operational planning and actions against the U.S. But when senators pressed for more details, he said he didn't want to elaborate. At the same time, the chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Roger Wicker, who was sitting up there, agreed with what General Milley said, since of course he also has access to a wealth of intelligence. He said not only that, but Russia, Communist China, Iran, and North Korea, these four authoritarian countries, are now forming a bloc. He said that Xi Jinping, the head of the Chinese Communist Party, is not only leading the CCP in China, but is also leading an axis of aggressors. He said that these four authoritarian regimes support each other's acts of aggression, provide economic backing to one another, and are conspiring to undermine America's strategic objectives. So even though the United States and Iran reached a fragile ceasefire after several weeks of conflict, another thing is the clearing of naval mines in the Strait of Hormuz. According to the original plan, this was supposed to take as long as 6 months. But recently, the U.S. Navy teamed up with a San Francisco-based artificial intelligence company called Domino Data Lab. They signed a contract worth nearly $100 million. What for? By using accelerated machine learning technology, the U.S. Navy's underwater drones, or unmanned underwater vehicles, whatever you want to call them, can now identify new types of naval mines much faster, reducing the time from several months to just a few days. The COO of Domino, Thomas Robinson, said in a media interview that mine detection and clearance operations have shifted from traditional methods, from being ship-based missions to becoming AI-driven tasks. If the U.S. were to redeploy the drones or unmanned boats originally stationed in the Baltic Sea to counter Russian naval mines to the Strait of Hormuz and combine them with our company's new technology, the Navy could reduce mine clearing time from a year to just 1 week. All these signs are pointing to something. Another piece of news is that all indications suggest the U.S. and Israel might launch another large-scale short-term strike against Iran as soon as this weekend. In particular, there are reports that the U.S. has already deployed something called the Dark Eagle to the Middle East during the ceasefire. It's called the Dark Eagle. This kind of hypersonic missile can strike deep into any part of Iran without the need for aircraft to enter its airspace. So on Thursday morning, the commander of U.S. Central Command, Cooper, briefed President Trump on all available military options. Right now, the armed forces are fully prepared. It's just up to Trump to decide which path to take. All that's left is for final authorization to be given, and that's it. So it's expected that the joint U.S.-Israeli military operation will aim to take out high-ranking military and political figures inside Iran. The main target is the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Vahidi, who is currently the real decision-maker in Iran. Israeli media reports also point out that the United States may approve Israel to carry out unilateral strikes on key infrastructure inside Iran. Israel is also preparing to officially announce that negotiations with Iran have completely failed. All right, so the next piece of news is about an action taken by the UAE, which is actually quite noteworthy and worth analyzing. As we all know, the UAE withdrew from OPEC a couple of days ago, and just 2 days after leaving OPEC, they announced that they are freezing their membership in the Arab League and might even withdraw from the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. These are the other two major joint organizations in the Middle East. Yesterday, I mentioned to everyone that there were also rumors about them wanting to withdraw from the United Nations and related organizations. However, after I looked into it further, it seems that this is just a rumor and not very likely to happen. But as for withdrawing from the Arab League and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, that is much more likely. Right now, they are freezing their membership in those alliances. So what's really going on behind all this? To put it simply, it's about the deepening rift with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are basically the top two powers among the Gulf countries in the Middle East. These two countries, the number 1 and number 2, have very different views on several issues. One of them is Yemen, specifically the Houthi armed group in Yemen. After the Houthis rose to power with Iran's support, Saudi Arabia backed Yemen's official government to wipe out the Houthis. And what about the UAE? They support another faction in southern Yemen, which is a key difference. Secondly, when it comes to oil strategy, there are of course major disagreements. Saudi Arabia wants to limit production. Each member country of OPEC is supposed to restrict output to keep prices high. But the UAE wants to increase production and lower prices, basically ramping up output and letting prices fluctuate. This is a completely different approach. In addition, their positions on Iran are also very different. On the Iran issue, Saudi Arabia has always been very conservative, while the UAE is much more assertive. So when it comes to conflicts with Iran, the UAE feels that Saudi Arabia, as the so-called leader of the Gulf, since Saudi is considered the Gulf's big boss, doesn't show enough solidarity. In times of conflict, not only does Saudi fail to protect its allies, but it's also unwilling to take real action against Iran. So the UAE feels like there's no future in sticking with this big brother. That's why the UAE has recently made some interesting moves. For example, they've replaced all the businesses in UAE stores that were affiliated with the Islamic Republic, meaning they've swapped out all the current regime's national flags. They replaced them with the lion and sun emblem of the Pahlavi dynasty, which is a symbol of theirs. In addition, the UAE has taken a very hawkish stance and has already deployed fighter jets to strike southern Iran. So basically, their assessment is that instead of tying themselves to Saudi Arabia and getting dragged into trouble, it's better to get closer to Israel and the United States. As you all know, the UAE was the first among the Gulf countries to sign the Abraham Accords with Israel in 2020. That was during Trump's first term, and they managed to secure this deal in 2020. So now, the UAE sees its relationship with Israel as a key leverage point for reaching Washington. There are four main things that have strengthened the UAE's ties with both Israel and the US. The first is the Abraham Accords I just mentioned. The second is obtaining something from Israel that it has never exported before. The Iron Dome defense system, now it's been installed in the UAE. Iran is currently targeting the UAE the most aggressively among the Gulf countries. Let me say it again. When Iran attacks a Gulf country, it's like the US attacking Iran, or like Zhang San attacking Iran, or Iran attacking Lee Si. That's just how it goes. In this analogy, Lee Si represents the 6 Arab Gulf countries, and among them, the UAE is hit the hardest. Why? Because the UAE is the least polite to Iran. So under constant attack, those so-called interceptor missiles the US provided are just too expensive, really expensive. So the UAE convinced Israel to give them 111 sets of the Iron Dome system, and they even brought over dozens of operators to directly help the UAE intercept attacks. Whether it's drones or missiles coming from Iran, the Iron Dome can intercept them. It can even intercept artillery shells and mortar rounds. It's honestly pretty incredible. It's not just incredible, it's almost miraculous. Another thing is, this kind of military alliance between an Arab country and Israel has never happened before. Also, the UAE now needs US dollars, so it has already reached a currency swap agreement with the US. This means the UAE's central bank can access US dollars issued by the US Federal Reserve, so during this period of war, it can secure dollar income. In case their incoming funds are the nuh, they'll still have enough US dollars to cover their positions in an emergency. Another thing is, they're taking a tough stance against Iran. As for the UAE, it has 88,000 troops. Actually, among the Gulf countries, the UAE's military is known for being brave and battle-tested. They've really fought in Syria before, and that's a real war they've been in, even though their numbers aren't as large as, say, Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has between 120,000 and 150,000 troops, while the UAE has 80,000, but their combat effectiveness is very strong. So you might be wondering, hey, just a few days ago, the Saudi Crown Prince, no, actually the Crown Prince of the UAE, went to Beijing to have drinks and chat with Xi Jinping. What was that all about? The reason is that China's the world's biggest buyer of oil, so nobody wants to offend such a major customer. They all want to maintain a good relationship, right? They hope China will buy their oil instead of someone else's. That's basically the situation. But the UAE doesn't want to be tied to China. Politically, they're very clear about this. They want to lean toward the United States. At the same time, the latest development is that the UAE also doesn't want to be bound by the traditional framework of the Arab Gulf countries. They'd much rather interact directly with the US, China, India, Europe, and other countries as an independent player. They want to become a global hub for logistics, finance, energy, AI, and other sectors for the US and the world, pursuing their own status as a major global power. Of course, places like Dubai have already achieved this. They've already made it. Abu Dhabi and these other places have become extremely, how should I put it, just really high-end cities. That's why they're so confident now, and they have a lot of money, just like Saudi Arabia. So, besides oil, the UAE is already looking to the future and is vigorously developing a non oil economy, including Dubai's finance, tourism, aviation, AI, and so on. Their decision to leave OPEC is so they can have more flexibility to control the market themselves, increase production, and boost their income instead of being limited by OPEC's quotas. So now there's a problem. If the US and Israel plus the UAE form an alliance, that would mean the two most powerful countries in the Middle East are allied with the US. This would undoubtedly be terrible news for Iran. It's like paying tribute to the King and Queen of England who have just left the White House and are about to return home. Trump said, he tweeted actually, he said, "I will remove tariffs and restrictions related to Scotch whiskey." This involves cooperation between the Scotch whiskey distilling industry and Kentucky's bourbon whiskey industry with Scotland. People have wanted to make this happen for a long time because there's always been good trade relations between the two countries, especially when it comes to using wood barrels for whiskey. Wood barrels? Wow, what is this all about? After hearing this, can anyone really make sense of it? They went on to say that the king and queen hardly asked for anything. Well, that prompted me to do something that no one else had been able to do before. And being able to host the two of them in the United States was, for me, a tremendous honor. So, what are we talking about here? This tweet was posted this morning. Let me break it down for everyone. It also involves the United States, specifically some aspects of the relationship between the US and the UK in a certain field. Secondly, it also touches on what the core underlying logic is behind Trump's current foreign trade policies. Everyone knows about whiskey, right? How many of you here like to drink whiskey? If you do, leave a comment, okay? So when it comes to the three biggest names in whiskey worldwide, one of them is, of course, the famous Scotch whiskey that everyone knows, Johnny Walker, right? Yeah, like Chivas Regal. So what's the second type? Well, that's American bourbon whiskey. Bourbon, as you all know, is the sweetest, the most local, the most American. It's basically America's national spirit. Or you could say it's one of America's national spirits. The third type is Irish whiskey, which is the smoothest of them all. So those are the three types of whiskey. Now let's focus specifically on American bourbon. Bourbon whiskey is all about where it's made. So what exactly is bourbon? It's produced in Bourbon County, Kentucky, back in 1785, as everyone knows, not long after America's independence. Just like the story I told you all yesterday, or actually the day before, after the United States became independent, John Adams went to England as the American minister. He went to reconcile with the King of England. And in that same year, Virginia established a new county called Bourbon County. So why is it called Kentucky? Because at that time, Kentucky was part of Virginia. It only became its own state later. So back then, Bourbon County was actually part of Virginia. At that time, to thank France for supporting the United States during the American Revolutionary War, which helped America defeat the British Empire, they named the county after the French Bourbon dynasty. So whether you call it Bourbon County or pronounce it the French way, both are correct. All right, since everyone in Chinese likes to call it Bourbon now, I'll just go with Bourbon. Anyway, it means the Bourbon dynasty. The English name for the Bourbon dynasty is House of Bourbon, right? This county is surrounded by cornfields everywhere. Corn here is really cheap and easy to grow, super easy to grow. So the early settlers wanted to drink, right? With all that corn around, cheap and plentiful, they started using corn to make liquor. As you know, corn isn't used to make Scotch whiskey. They use barley, right? Barley is what they used to make whiskey in Scotland. So after they made this liquor, they stored it in barrels, oak barrels, because oak is really durable and doesn't leak. Then, by chance, they discovered that if you charred the inside of the oak barrel, when they put the liquor back into the barrel after charring it, it ended up having a much better taste. Later on, research showed that charring the barrel causes caramelization of sugars and produces compounds like vanillin. These substances help filter out the bitter tannins in the oak, making the liquor smoother and giving it those unique flavors of caramel, vanilla, and a smoky aroma. Also, when you use a new barrel to age the liquor, those flavors become the strongest and most consistent. But if you reuse the barrel, the contribution of the oak to the flavor of the liquor drops off significantly. Now, moving on to the Prohibition era from 1920 to 1933. After Prohibition ended in 1933, people in the US could finally legally make alcohol again. As you know, that was right in the middle of the Great Depression. At that time, the Lumber Workers Union and the Barrel Makers Union lobbied hard. New barrels could bring out the best flavor. So that's why they argued that the government should pass a law requiring that bourbon whiskey could only be aged in new barrels. Each barrel could only be used once and then couldn't be reused. Of course, on the surface, this was about preserving the best flavor, but in reality, they wanted to create more jobs, right? Since they were in the lumber and barrel making industries, if barrels could only be used once and then thrown away, that would mean they could keep cutting wood and making more barrels. So this was actually lobbying done to secure jobs for them, but this lobbying happened during what was called the Great Depression. And they managed to convince Congress passed what was called the Employment Act. This Employment Act eventually became the basis for the American whiskey regulations, which really did stipulate that American bourbon whiskey could only use copper. Okay, it was mandatory to use copper. Of course, using copper really did ensure that every batch of bourbon had that rich, distinctive American flavor, and it could also change its color, turning it into a deep amber hue. And then there's that sweet, woody aroma, which really sets bourbon apart from the world-famous classic Scotch whiskey. And along with other characteristics, this has become the signature feature of bourbon whiskey. In 1964, more than 30 years later, Congress actually passed legislation officially recognizing bourbon as America's national spirit, a uniquely American product. The law also states that bourbon can only be made this way, and those barrels, they can only be used once. Oh my gosh, you know it's pretty rare for the US Congress to get involved in something like this. But anyway, as fate would have it, they passed this kind of legislation. And it even says, this law, this court ruling, the law states that if you don't follow these distilling regulations, you can't call it bourbon. You can only call it whiskey or some other name. They won't let you use the bourbon brand. So after this, it really did stimulate the cooperage and lumber industries in the US. That's why there are so many cooperages all over Kentucky. At the same time, it also made the production cost of bourbon higher, since you have to throw away the barrel after using it just once. That's not practical, so they started exporting these high-quality used bourbon barrels to Scotland. Ireland and Japan. Of course, Japanese whiskey is also quite good, even though it hasn't made it into the top 3 mainstream types, so it's basically the 4th. They use these barrels to age their own brands of whiskey. As you know, Scotch whiskey especially loves using old barrels. The first reason is that it's much cheaper. The second is that it gives Scotch, which is made from barley, a more elegant and balanced flavor. They don't want the overly strong woody aroma that new barrels can bring. So old barrels can bring more complex, elegant, and balanced flavors. It's not an explosive kind of taste, so everyone chooses what suits them best. Everyone chooses what they need. That's the difference between Melbourne whiskey, American whiskey, and Scotch whiskey. And then, this time Trump said, all right, let's do this. No tariffs, no tariffs. I had such a great talk with the Brits. So from now on, Scotch whiskey imported into the US will be tariff-free. As you all know, right now there's a 10% tariff, which was set last year as the standard tariff, right? In the past, Trump even threatened both. He threatened Scotland's whiskey and France's wine, right? He said, you guys keep taking advantage of us, so we're going to impose even higher tariffs on your imports to the US. But anyway, in the end, the UK settled at 10%. Now this time, Trump says they're not even going to collect the 10% anymore. That's one thing. The second point is that they're lifting related trade restrictions. Because when Scotland imports used barrels from Kentucky, they have to go through some US trade restrictions. Now they're saying there are no more restrictions, we can use all the old barrels we want. That's the idea. Basically, this is a way to strengthen cooperation between the two countries' whiskey industries and help Scottish whiskey sell better in the US. So after this order comes into effect, if you like drinking Johnnie Walker, your price will probably be about 10% cheaper. What do you think of this news? Isn't it interesting? So what do you think about Trump receiving the King of England with such decency? He really went all out to show the utmost respect and honor. That's what I wanted to say. This little thing really shows us that globalization is over. Under Trump's leadership, globalization is a thing of the past in America. In the past, it was a free market. Everything was leveled out globally, which attracted those bad players and those who aren't as generous as the US. The US would drop tariffs to zero, but they wouldn't. In the end, America was hollowed out until the Trump era, when everything had to be negotiated. Nothing was free anymore. So this really is a huge change. Take this Scotch whiskey from Melbourne, for example. When it was imported to the US before, there was never any tariff, always 0%. Now, Trump raised it to 10% and then gave that 10% back to the British king as a gift. That's where this gift comes from. Nothing is free anymore, so there's no such thing as zero tariffs. You have to be good to America and help America succeed. Or if you have diplomatic needs, then the US might give you zero tariffs. That's just how it is. So the world really is changing, and in this new world, the Trump era, the world is organized by nation states, with everyone working hard to prosper, both competing and cooperating with each other. It's not like before when everything was just one big screen. So whether it's manufacturing, workers, or jobs, they all flow to these low-income countries. Doing this quickly flattens the world, which is basically like dragging America down to the ground. That's just how it is, one after another. Here's a little story. I think it's pretty interesting. When I was looking up this story, I thought I should share it with everyone. So, has anyone ever tried bourbon whiskey? If you have, let us know what you think. Or if you have any better recommendations, please share them with us. You can leave a comment below. You can comment during the live stream, right? Our moderator is watching, and sometimes they'll summarize the questions everyone asks. That's why, at the end of the show, you might see me address them. The second way is that you can leave a comment under each episode. Third, if you want to make sure the host definitely sees it, and that all the viewers can see it too, you need to go to the community called Fangway Community and leave your comment there. All permissions are open there now. Of course, to do any of this, you need to subscribe. So remember, by subscribing, Fangway brings you not only major news from the US, but also the stories behind the news. If you enjoy and don't want to miss out on the valuable insights Fangway shares, then make sure to subscribe. Subscribe to Fangway's channel. For new friends who haven't subscribed yet, please do so before you leave. Also, turn on notifications. Next, today's biggest news, the May 1st U.S. general strike. About 600 groups, including hardline communists and others, are joining in. And groups connected to the Democratic Party are mobilizing across the country today to organize a May Day protest. Now, as you all know, I've been in the U.S. for over 30 years, and I've never heard of any kind of May Day Labor Day here, nor have I ever heard of a May Day general strike. I've only ever heard of Labor Day at the beginning of September, right? And that Labor Day is relaxed and joyful, isn't it? You get a day off, everyone is happy. So why doesn't America have a May Day Labor Day? Why is there only Labor Day in early September? And why is there suddenly a May Day general strike today? Let me tell you a bit of the history behind this. In the late 19th century, the Communist Party was rising in both Europe and the Americas. Under the influence of the Communist Party, workers everywhere started fighting for things like the 8-hour workday, fighting for better benefits and things like that. On May 1st, 1886, there was a massive strike in several cities across the Midwest in the United States. The most important city was Chicago, where nearly 40,000 workers took part. In Chicago, the strike lasted for several days. And on May 4th, there was a place called Haymarket. Yeah, the Haymarket. The workers gathered there and refused to leave, which blocked traffic. The police told them to disperse, saying the gathering was now illegal, and tried to break it up. Suddenly, someone approached and threw a bomb into the crowd, which included both police officers and workers. The bomb exploded. It injured and killed many police officers and workers. This is what became known at the time as the Haymarket Affair, or the May Day Haymarket Incident, of course.